Hey guys, Simpson2142 here, giving more ELO Hell vlogs on Overwatch. I'm going to be doing something a little bit different today. Rather than have sort of a script in front of me where I can read it, it's concise, it's sort of professional, I'm going to be doing some improvisation talk over a video. This could go disastrously wrong, it may not even see the light of YouTube because it goes so bad, but I'm going to give it a shot nonetheless. Now the video we're going to have in front of me is kind of inspired by the fact that I've just had a session from ELO Hell. And in that session we had two rage quitters, one of them even quitting when it was just 1-0 on King of the Hill. And that got me thinking to a match that was recorded about last week, and it was one of those situations where it did look like we were going to get absolutely whitewashed, Now this is on payload, by the way, not King of the Hill. And what basically happened was we were defending, the enemy team absolutely swamped us. They took the first point on Hollywood easy, and from then on they just kind of steamed the payload through us. We made barely any attempt to defend it, and they managed to cap the final point pretty effortlessly with 2 minutes 44 seconds remaining. Now, obviously, the team was immediate to start the toxic attitude, telling on each other, this guy should change, that guy should change, learn to play, etc., etc. And this seems to be the perfect time for rage quitting to occur, or if not rage quitting, when people start to troll. And what I mean by troll, they purposely pick a character or hero, should I say, that isn't going to fare too well in the system. So if you're attacking, they're just going to pick Symmetra or go Bastion or Torbjorn, and just kind of, give a big middle finger to the rest of the team. But no one decides to actually do that, and we do give it a shot to attack. Now I decide to switch from Mei, that I was previously playing in defense, and decide to go Ana instead, as I sort of main her. I tend to play better with her, she's more of my favorite hero to play, so we give that a shot. Now, as you can see in the clip in front of me, we're just trying to take the first point at the moment. I'm definitely trying to get the shots out, get the heals. I ult the Reinhardt in a pitiful attempt, but he gets stunned, I get stunned, and yeah, that attack pretty much goes nowhere. But I survive, try and get round, and the Mercy just basically undoes all the damage that we inflicted with our ult charge. The enemy Rein takes me out pretty quickly, so it's already looking like it's going to be a failed attempt, as we predicted. Absolutely stormed on defense, we're going to get stormed on attack as well. Sleep the Winston, don't bother to attack him, just want him kept out of the way while we try and take the point. Keep firing in heals, Junkrat Tire comes in, so I try and retreat around the corner. Luckily it hits the Diva, which is probably the best hero to hit, as it doesn't actually kill her, it just merely knocks her out of mech. Winston's back up, managed to get inside his bubble shield and deploy Anna's biotic frag. Trying to keep heals on the Reinhardt. Luckily Usho just popped his ult, and against all odds we somehow managed to capture that first point. Now after we take that first point, it doesn't really go too well after that. We kind of get chokehold at this archway gate here, and they managed to hold the ground with us despite us having the spawn advantage. So even at this point we managed to capture the point. Hopes were still pretty low on whether we'd actually managed to get the payload towards the end, especially because we only had just over 2 minutes to do it. So I get a nice little biotic nade on the Reinhardt there. Junkrat has deployed his tire and it gets all of us. Obviously he didn't meant to get all of us, or he didn't mean to get all of us, but by luck he did. Then we're going to skip forward a bit now, and this is where we actually managed to push the payload, and we're just about to capture the first payload point on Hollywood, and this is where it starts to get a little chaotic. We're trying to stick to the payload. I just managed to get my ult up. I put on the Diva rather than Roadhog, as I think Diva can do out more consistent damage than the Roadhog. Winston comes in, making life very difficult. Mercy comes in with another revive. You've got to give Mercy credit, she was doing a fantastic job of keeping that team alive. But we actually managed to hold tight, the payload keeps moving, and somehow we managed to fight off their defenses. And we successfully managed to capture the first point, which is already beyond expectations for everyone. And then, against all odds, we actually managed to get the payload to the end point, which no one in that team predicted. Now, what I actually suggest here is, because we have a Genji and a Winston, I almost suggest that the Lucio go a Zenyatta, just then so when the Winston and Genji go up to extend the flanking positions, we can get an orb on them, keep them healed up nice and easy, as opposed to a Lucio who would be out of reach. But the guy sticks to Lucio, and I think in the end it actually does work out for the best. So I'm staying again as Anna. And we're just moving in for the attack here. We have a dive comp going on. We have the D.Va on point. We have the Winston on point. We just go super, super aggressive because we have 60 seconds to do as much as we can. And considering it took us about 3 minutes to capture the first point, yeah, this is a lot of pressure. And again, no one really had high hopes for this. The soldier gets me from a roof point, which is a great tactical advantage. You know, if you're a soldier, try and keep on the high ground, which is what he was doing absolutely right. But somehow, against all odds, we capture the point, which is fantastic. Now we're in overtime, which basically means if we leave the cart for even just a few seconds, we're going to lose the match. We are now bound onto that payload. We cannot extend away, we cannot push up the front line, we have to stay with this payload. And when we've got a composition like Winston and D.Va who tend to like to fly off ahead and play almost a dive comp, yeah, this is going to be tricky. So as you can see, I'm just like hopping on the cart here, popping down some Barty grenades. Winston's diving up ahead, and I'm trying to keep him healed while May tries to freeze him. Get my ult up, and I think, well, Winston is probably going to be the best one to ult in this situation, as he can deal out consistent damage. And even though we can't heal him with an orb, we can at least keep him alive with Anna's defense buff, as he's nano boosted. May then throws in an ult on the point. I thought this was game over. I thought she's going to icicle us all to the head. It's done. It's over. But she didn't. And the team stays alive. I get a nade down. Manage to get the health pool back up. There, Winston starts dive comping on us. And it all just gets a little bit messy. But we somehow survive again. May comes in. D.Va is protecting me nicely. And like I said, I am so grateful that our team did in the end have a Lucio, because you'll see so many times in this I do come in very close to dying, and because he is just in the vicinity of me, he's keeping me alive and I'm able to keep doing my job as primary healer. And that Mercy once again getting in a revive, which is going to make our life difficult. Get a couple of shots into the May, and luckily before she can finish me off with an ice pop to the head, one of my team comes in and saves me. And notice here I'm just trying to use the payload for cover because I am a very squishy hero, and once they get one of those lucky shots off me, it's good. It's done. Our friendly D.Va, she managed to get a friendly ult off. Doesn't really do much in terms of kills, but it does keep the enemy team away from the payload, which is what we need. And honestly, this is just so chaotic. I remember at this point my heart was just absolutely pounding. So I get my ult, immediately pop it on the Winston. I don't know how long I've got. The Lucio, the friendly Lucio, he has just popped an ult, giving us a massive boost. This is fantastic. Whacking my shot into D.Va here, throwing my nade down to Roadhog. I was dead. Yes, she was my biggest threat. She's down, she's out. Soldier, trying to get a few shots into him, miss. I think I actually slept him. I don't know who I slept, but I slept someone. Throw a nade, miss, hit the back of Lucio's head, but I'm sure he appreciates the health boost nonetheless. Somehow, we make it to the first point on the payload, beyond anyone's expectations. This way it gets a little bit tricky. Our Winston begins to overextend, and I try and get a nade off. I think I miss. I'm trying to scope him, but D.Va's getting in my way. Luckily, I managed to get just enough shots in there to keep him alive and well. Sleep the Zarya, we managed to finish her off. Nade down immediately, and you'll see on this, the moment my grenade comes off cooldown, I instantly just slam it to the ground. I'm just trying to get out as much heals as fast as I can. And because I'm assuming everyone is on the payload, I just slam it to the ground and hope that they all get caught in the 4-meter radius. So I'm trying to scope some shots on Winston here. The Mercy's in. I can deny her healing ability, trying to stop her getting one of those cheeky revives in. It's fine. Got my ult back up. Now we're getting towards the final point here, so I do just pop it immediately. That's because the soldier, shows how long I've watched this video for, and that's because the soldier came with his tactical visor, and I didn't know whether he was just going to melt me in seconds, so I thought, get it off, let D.Va do her work, and just hope to God it's enough to get that payload a few inches further. But against all odds, here we are. We're pushing on the final point, and it's a good solid team effort. And you can tell from my enthusiastic chat response there, I did not expect this to happen. I don't think anyone expected this to happen. Sarcasm living up to his name there, pretty good. And then, yeah, like the guy points out in the chat, it was the worst first round ever. We got absolutely stomped. So for us to not only rival them in taking back the point, but to then do it all over again with 60 seconds overtime was just freaking mind-boggling. You know, it just wasn't expected. And I think one guy in the chat later on does even admit to how he was going to rage quit. But we're not out of the woods yet. Obviously, if we've managed to pull it off on Fluke, so can they. And it was our defense last time that let us down. And so this is our weak point. And so what I'm telling everyone, I'm like, just stay close. No one overextend. No one try and be a hero. We have just got to be a tight little death ball. And the closer you are to me and Lucio, the more we can heal you. This is not a flanker setup. It's not a dive comp setup.
I will keep you healed. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
So what I think they end up doing is trying to mimic our dive comp. They've got the Winston in, the Reinhardt is just charging in. They are going full on force. Luckily we are tight close together, so where their odd tank is coming at us, we have 6 players there to combat it, and we can easily make short work of them. Winston coming in, causing a bit of trouble. I missed the sleep dart, but it's okay. Get the nade down, and again, we managed to easily pick him off with our 6v1. And this is what we need them to keep doing. Need them to keep being overly aggressive, to keep trickling in. But do remember they have over 3 minutes to take the point as opposed to our 60. So time is on their side, and they can build up their ult, and they can just do a combo ult and wipe us off completely. Now, I absolutely, as an Ana player, I absolutely hate Winston bubbles because they're very flimsy and fragile, but they're just enough to get in the way of your grenade and prevent you from getting the biotic grenade on the rest of your team. So I pop out on D.Va, managed to get the nade on the Roadhog to stop him fully healing himself, managed to take him out. Winston is back on. This Winston just keeps diving us. Reinhardt gets, don't know what it's called, a hammer ult on us, we'll call it that, I'm sure that's the correct term. Managed to sleep the Winston and finish him off with the biotic grenade. Again, we're all staying very close, and it's very hard as an Ana to try and heal your fellow Winston because he's such a bouncy hero. Unlike a Roadhog or a Reinhardt, Winston is just all over the pitch. He's like a fat Genji almost. Very difficult. I'm trying to get some pot shots off of the Pharah, failing miserably, so I decided to go back and do my job and just focus my darts on healing my team. Winston comes down with his enemy bubble, Roadhog as well. Managed to sleep him. And they're down. And I've got my ultimate back up, which is a little bit of reassurance. This is what we need. Keep trickling in. Get the Winston to dive on us, get the Roadhog just to storm on in, and we can pick him off. Now, I'm getting worried at this point because our team starts to overextend, which is not what we can afford to do. We need to come back and group up. If we start getting picked off one by one, we're going to lose the fight, and we won't have that flexibility to recover. So I get my ultimate off onto our fellow Winston. He does a fairly good job. He's then able to pop his ultimate, recharge his health back up, and just knock people out the way, keeping them off the point. I go down at this point, taken out by the Reinhardt hammer. And again, every time I die, you're just thinking, oh, is this going to be it? And you're just looking at that contesting 5 on there. And yeah, it was pretty certain at this point they were going to have the point. You know, our D.Va was running in, but there was only so much she could do. No one had an ultimate ready. So we just accept it. We're like, okay, the payload's gone. We held it off. They have 20 seconds, and then they're going to be in overtime just like us. So we group back up. The Winston again tries to dive comp us, which is not a good strategy. He should be sticking on that payload with the rest of his team. They should be a huge death ball fortress. The Reinhardt aggressively charges in. Again, poor play by him. He should be on that payload, just putting his shield up, trying to block as much incoming damage as possible. Their Pharah gets a successful ult on us. I don't know why their Reaper came in and just overkilled it. Most of us were dead anyway. He probably could have saved that for a more crucial time. But nonetheless, he popped it, and that's good for us, bad for him. So again, they're doing a pretty successful push here. And I'm at the head of the game, and I'm trying to get everyone just to push in together. We don't want to make the mistake of trickling in like they did. Enemy Pharah is just raining down rockets, trying to block us off with the choke point. Luckily, our Pharah gets in the air and keeps her distracted long enough. I try and get a few darts into her, manage to succeed, get a nade on her. Miss the sleep dart. Then Zenyatta's popping ult, so I'm holding back a bit here. Winston is coming in, harassing the Reinhardt. Get a nade down. I've got ult. Immediately pop it. Immediately. I don't know when I'm going to die here. Winston goes around. He does a fantastic job weakening down the enemy. And boom. We win. Against all odds. Absolutely steamrolled in the beginning. Somehow come back from the brink to even it up. And then with 60 seconds overtime, take the point to the very end and manage to stop the enemy in their tracks. And you can just tell by the chat reaction, the sheer shock, happiness and disbelief on my fellow teammates and myself as well. And I think one of them even goes to mention in this chat how he was going to, there we go, I was seriously contemplating a rage quit, which is my point of this video. Even if a situation looks dire as the one we were in, never rage quit. The only thing you benefit from rage quitting is just solidifying your loss as well as getting a leavers penalty. You can honestly never predict when this might go into your favour. But anyway guys, that's going to be enough for today. I'm not sure how well this improv talk worked. It probably sounds absolutely terrible. I'll have to listen back to it and see. You may not even see this video on YouTube like I said because it's so disastrous. And if you do, well I was probably just thinking, fuck it, I've talked for 17 minutes. Might as well make it worth it. Anyway guys, let me know if you've had any stories similar to this, if you've had any prevalent problems with rage quitters like I certainly have. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one guys. Take care.